And yeah, actually, I kind of dig this. Reason in a creature is a faculty for extending the rules and purposes of the use of its powers far beyond natural instinct, and knows no limits in its designs, yet it does not act according to instinct, but requires trials, practice, and instruction in order to progress from one degree of insight to the next. And, you know, I was thinking about this a lot today, where, just as happened earlier in this game, humans love puzzles, right? We love overcoming challenges. I feel like the reason why so many people have a desire to live an easy life where there's not much work and all they do is relax, and they never work, I think that's because a lot of humans are at such a far end of the spectrum where they're being abused every day by late stage capitalism. And I'm dead serious here. They're being so overworked and they're so tired that all they can imagine is the complete polar opposite of that. But when you do get to a point in your life where you kind of can do what you want and you can kind of forge your own path and your own destiny, having a life of only leisure without any struggle or anything to overcome is boring. And that's why, like, in the Bible, the book of Ecclesiastes, I feel like, is the most relevant book in the entire Bible, because Koholeth, or the person who wrote the book of Ecclesiastes, as it is, I mean, he's called the teacher in English translations, but literally he says everything is meaningless. Okay, when I grew up, there was this understanding that Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes just under a pen name. And because Solomon had all these riches and, he basically made it, if you will, in his life. Because of that, he is on this, not this end of the spectrum, but this end, where it's just like, he can kind of do whatever he wants. And he got to this point where he said, everything is meaningless. Everything is meaningless under the sun. And I don't know, man, I've been thinking a lot about that lately, how everything is meaningless. And it's super interesting because if we don't create our own purpose, which it's up to us. We create our own purpose in life. I will die on that hill. If we don't do that, yeah, we will be abused by the powers that be, and we will be in these strains of existence where life is tough and feels pointless. We need some kind of struggle to overcome. And we do need moments of rest. We need both. But our society is so binary and so polarizing these days that people just want one or the other, I feel like. And I don't get that, man.